Biggest strength for the Cubs. What is it? Let's go.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making Locked On Cubs your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day. Like the video and comment anything below. Let us know in the comment section, what is the Cubs' biggest strength? Today's Wednesday episode is presented by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Well, in a text message earlier on Tuesday, Sam Olber called this topic an interesting, loaded question, to which I think has a clear, obvious answer. So I think for one of the rare times on this program, we might go back and forth a little bit more than usual. Sam, we're talking about the Cubs' biggest strengths as we enter the 2024 campaign.
Well, since you want to, puff your chest out a bit, why don't you go first?
Sure. The answer is very clear. That's going to be defense. Let me give you a few reasons why. Cubs ranked 6th in defense, according to Fangraphs last year, despite ranking on the lower side and just your traditional fielding percentage, as I take the mantle of Matt Brozdowski right here. And they're also 6th in the category of defensive runs saved. Of course, you have 3 Gold Glove winners, Sam. You know who those are: Swanson, Horner, and Happ. Swanson led all shortstops with 18 defensive runs saved, forming a strong combination with Horner as the best middle infield in baseball, which is nice because the Cubs pitching staff allows a lot of balls in play. And most of that is in the form of ground balls. Can I keep going?
Keep going. I'm right here.
Yan Gomes is the anchor behind the plate. Cody Bellinger is a plus defender in both center field and at first base. Seiya Suzuki does fine in right. Michael Busch hasn't played first base much professionally, but that is where he played growing up in high school and in college. And third base, I will admit there's a major hole. So defense is where I think the Cubs' biggest strength lies. Run prevention, as we know, has been a focus of Jed Hoyer, and a focus just as much or even more for Craig Counsell, as the Brewers, did you know, ranked 1st defensively the last couple of years. So my case has been made on the defensive side of the ball. Smash the like button.
And it's a very compelling case, and I think it is.
It's a clear case.
I think it's one of the strengths of this team.
It's the biggest one.
But I don't think it's the biggest strength of this team. As you said, last year they were 6th. I mean, that's pretty good. But, when I think about biggest strengths, I'm talking about, top 2, top 3, top 4. And I'm going to take my Brozdowski hat off, and I'm going to put my old school Sam Olber hat on. And what I think this team's strengths, it's not defense. It's not hitting. It's not pitching. It's not bullpen. It's not something tangible. I think the biggest strength.
Not chemistry.
No, I think the biggest strength of this team is going to be their leadership.
Oh, my goodness.
And I'm not just talking about Craig Counsell, who I believe is not the 6th best manager in the league, but I think he's number 1.
Wow.
So you have the backbone of him. Then you have champions like Bellinger and Swanson, leaders like Gomes, Steele, and Happ. And here's the kicker. Here's what I am most excited about with this team this year. Unfinished business. Last season, they had a job to do in September. They didn't get it done. And I've heard Bellinger, I've heard Steele, I've heard Swanson all say, hey, We've got to get the job done now and take that next step. And no, you can't measure that in WAR. You can't measure that in OPS. You can't measure that in strikeouts, but you can measure it in wins. And I think this team this season is going to play with a little bit of desperation, a little bit of fire, a little bit of hunger. And when you combine that with substituting, with all due respect, David Ross in for Craig Counsell, that to me is the backbone of this team. Veteran, experienced, smart leadership. They should be able to win a lot of close games with Counsell's decision-making, and they may not be the most talented. They may not be the flashiest, but at the end of the year, with this group, they should have a high enough floor where they should be able to find a way to win this National League Central. I trust the leadership of this team more than I trusted in Cincinnati, more than I trusted in St. Louis, more than I trusted in Milwaukee.
All right. Well, I definitely going to clip that as I do have, a few extra minutes here on a Tuesday evening. I think that's very worthwhile. I did not expect that, I have to tell you.
And that's why I wanted to talk about it today but think about it, Matt.
That's real solid.
Last year, Dansby Swanson came up short the month of September. He's one of the leaders.
Many times he did.
Yeah, and he's one of the leaders of this team.
Yeah.
He knows that, and I think he's going to bounce back. Yan Gomes is a leader. Craig Counsell doesn't know. He hasn't experienced what a losing season's like since 2017.
Yeah, no, he's basically won his whole career.
To me, that's what gives me the most confidence with this team. Yes, up the middle defensively with Horner, Swanson, and Bellinger. Absolutely. It is a strength of their team. And to be honest with you, I think the only major weakness going into this year will be just the unknown of the bullpen and the back end of that starting rotation. I think we know what the offense is. It's going to have a month where it's the best offense in the league. Excuse yourself. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I just dropped my ring.
Oh,
I got it again.
Great. They're going to have a month where they're the best offense in the league, and they're going to have a month in the where they're awful. We know that there's going to be a lot of variance there.
Right. They did score a lot of runs last year.
Yeah. I just think, to me, what stands out is a year in. You're always better in year two, someone like Dansby. And the upgraded manager, I just think it's a team that has a lot of pride and a lot of leadership, and I just don't see them. I think if they get off to like an 11-14 start, there's going to be like some sort of team gathering. It's like, hey, we're not messing around. Let's get this going. It's time to rattle off 15 out of 20.
Yeah, it's got to stop now.
Yeah, and to be fair to David Ross, they really came out of a major hole last year. And then they played themselves out of it in September with some injuries and stuff. But I don't think this team's going to get into that type of hole. I think they're focused and ready.
Yeah, I mean, there was the one stretch, Sam. I always backdated it to, speaking of this, July 18th, the same day as I got engaged. But from July 18th, that big win against the Nationals through the Giants series in September, they were 33-14.
Right.
Which is at 110 win pace. Pretty remarkable what they were able to do in almost a 2-month span of time. We've factored in the importance of getting off to a good start on this show now, 2 seasons in a row. And boy, am I getting more and more antsy for the first game, which is 8 days away. Just a fantastic presentation by you. I think in terms of baseball, it's a clear strength and a clear weakness. Clear strength is defense. Clear weakness is the rotation.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned the bullpen as well, but I think they would be kind of the next rung there. And
the bullpen's always going to be looked at as a weakness because when they blow a game, it's just torturous.
But even then, they have a nice core out there.
I will say though, I'm not as concerned about April as I was last season because I was so scared that they were You all right again? Okay.
I'm fidgeting a lot.
Yeah, it's just listen.
A lot of changes right now.
Yeah, no, spring is here.
It's good though. I feel good.
Cubs are right around the corner. There's no need to have a heart attack. Everything's gonna be fine.
I don't look bad, honestly, too. Dang.
No, I no one said you look bad.
Wow.
We're just hearing a lot of noises in the background, and we're concerned that you might have a pet.
It's my ring.
Okay.
Go Cubs.
last year, Matt, I was so concerned that this team was going to sell. So I wanted to get off
That's
to a good
right.
start. Remember, I said, hey, it's not a 162 game season. It's an 81 game, whatever.
That's right. That's right.
That's not going to happen with this team. I don't see. I think their April schedule last year, it was pretty manageable. This is a really tough April schedule.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's tough.
they play some tough teams early. So I just think keeping your head above water, staying afloat, all those baseball cliches, and then they'll get hot when the time is right. I didn't love that Blake Snell went to the Giants National League.
No. How would you? It's the same league.
I think that makes the Giants. I really, a lot of people think the Giants are going to be bad. I don't think so. I think
No way. Bad? No.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're going to be excellent, but they're not going to be bad.
You look at that National League West, you have, of course, the Dodgers,
It's
Padres,
loaded.
Arizona, Giants. You have 4 teams that are looking
Loaded.
really to make the postseason.
Yep.
You go over to the East, you have Philly, Atlanta, the Mets, and the Marlins. I mean, that's 8 teams right there that really believe they have a shot at the postseason.
It's crazy.
And then, of course, our division. So there's a lot of competition, and we'll see what happens. But I believe in the backbone of this team. I believe in their leadership. And I know that's why September was so hard for me, because I really believed that this team wasn't capable of a collapse like that. And when I look back on it, it really was, Swanson had some rough moments, but it really was just, if they had Alzolay healthy down the stretch,
even just one guy,
yeah, along with Leiter Jr., whatever was going on with him, they would have made it easily. I mean, they blew like 8 games in the month of September. It was bullpen related, really,
for the most part, yeah.
So I think Council's going to manage that better, and I'm expecting a better result. So,
well, next week we'll do a schedule episode, either the first part of the schedule, or really we could do all of April if you want to get crazy.
Sure.
I do think that's a worthwhile segment or two as we get ramped up for the year. All right. Well, biggest strength, Sam says leadership. In terms of the baseball, I think we agree. Defense and weakness on the pitching side, specifically the rotation. There is some news about the Cubs roster. We're going to get into that, and also maybe what some opening day ramifications that could have, any additions they could make from the non-roster invitee group, and we're going to do that next. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Whether it's tournament season or the fight for playoff home court, there's no shortage of high-stakes basketball moments this time of year. Plus, baseball season is right around the corner. Dodgers and Padres open in Korea today, and opening day, March 28th. You could get in on the excitement. March Madness, baseball starting with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your sports knowledge into serious cash. Prize Picks is really simple to play, with your entries taking less than 60 seconds to submit, turning $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps of your screen. Right now, the Prize Picks board, prior to the MLB season, has plenty of players and stats to choose more or less on, as well as the hoops hype surrounding March Madness and the NBA. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's a first deposit match up to $100 by using code LOCKEDONMLB. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel, Locked On Sports Today. And baseball fans, mark your calendars for 6 p.m. Central today for the best MLB season preview, coming exclusively to Locked On Sports Today. Get local insight from the MLB local experts like Sam Olber of Locked On Cubs at 6 p.m. Central today on the Locked On Sports Today 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube or Amazon Fire TV. Patrick Wisdom continues to deal with a back issue that is now putting his status for opening day in doubt. Craig Counsell said, quote, "Not really sure what's going to happen next," close quote. So I, as a podcaster and as a fan, I'm going to upgrade back issue to back injury, and I'm beginning to project that Wisdom is not going to be on the opening day roster, Sam.
Yeah, I think it's a very fair projection. Unfortunate for Patrick, but fortunately for the Cubs, it's an area where they have a lot of options, a lot of depth. We've talked about Dom Smith. I personally think Garrett Cooper should be on this baseball team March 28th, and I think this slides a spot open for him. We haven't really heard much from Nick Madrigal. I don't know if
No,
he going to start the year in the IL. So a lot of these bubble
I think
guys
so.
are going to have a chance to prove themselves, maybe the first 15 games of the season,
Good.
before reinforcement comes. I think, this is a pool of guys. We're all going to overreact opening day, but guys that don't make the team, I mean, there's going to be plenty of guys that are huge, huge, huge impacts that come up mid to late April, mid to late May, June, July. It's going to be an influx. And I think it's one of the other big strengths of the Cubs that we didn't mention in the first segment, depth. They have tons of it.
Yeah, I thought about that.
They have tons of it. And, I think they'll put it to use. But, I got to lock in once this weekend's over with the NCAA tournament. By the way, I want to apologize to the listeners a little bit because typically when Illinois stinks, I'm pretty much play-by-play Cubs starting almost now. So obviously that's being a little bit delayed by this. But I got to get locked in on the Rangers. I got to figure out who they're throwing game 2, game 3, lefties, things like that. Because I want to get a chance. I think Garrett Cooper might hit a home run opening weekend if he's on this team.
Well, Heaney's pitching game 3, I think.
Oh, Heaney, that's right. They have Heaney. Yeah.
John Gray game 2.
Okay, so 2 righties and a lefty. So you'll get your lefty lineup on that Sunday.
Yeah.
So,
Garrett Cooper should make the team.
Yeah.
I was wondering if he was going to make it over Wisdom, because the other wrinkle to Wisdom and Madrigal being hurt is that they have minor league options left.
Right.
So both of these dudes could spend time this year at AAA Iowa. You didn't expect that from Wisdom, who got the 2.5 M's in to avoid arbitration. But so what? Bodie's rich in Des Moines for 3-4 straight years.
And do you think there's any chance he makes it?
No.
Yeah. Isn't that weird? Like that whole situation.
Yeah, I wonder.
Like could they? Why don't they just try and trade him and just say, let's split the salary?
Right.
There's no way he's the 32nd best. He's got to be able to help somebody over there.
I would think.
I think the reason they don't want to put him in there is because I actually think it just causes them more problems than solutions. I think they really want to have Morel get some chances at third. I am still convinced opening night it's going to be Mastro and Morel at DH.
Yeah.
But against lefties, I think they want to roll Morel out there. Is Morel playing? Morel's playing third tonight, Tuesday night,
I
right?
believe so. Yeah.
I'll be watching that. I'm going to be watching that very closely.
The biggest thing right now is, as more and more places come out with their projections, and I believe we did our projection first, but I'm not keeping score. But as more places keep releasing their projections, the biggest question is, how do you add non-roster players on the 40-man? And so I think I have a solution here that I'll tweet out Tuesday night as the Cubs play, fake baseball for a little bit longer. Is Caleb Killian is going to the 60-day DL. So there's a spot.
Right.
Okay. Because the premise to this is I think there should be a path for Garrett Cooper, Dom Smith, and Carl Edwards all to make it. So that's 3 spots. By the way, another thing to talk about before next week, Thursday, opening day, the opening day roster this year, a mile or 2 better than last year.
Yeah.
Mile or 2.
Yeah. And by the way, folks, we will be live Thursday evening after that game.
Yes. And I think we're going to try to be live a night prior to that too.
Maybe we'll do a little spaces tonight or
Let's
something.
figure that out. Yeah. Okay. So Killian 60-day DL, there's a spot.
Yep.
And then you have to make 2 trades. Now, you would say Wisdom and Madrigal could be candidates for that, but now they're hurt. So that puts them out. But I got 2 players right here, and I'm not going to apologize for it. I think they're 2 very likely, perhaps those most likely. Whether it's realistic, I don't know. But do you want to actually designate for assignment players this time of year? It's not advantageous. So if you get a little bit of value, that would be good. And those two guys are Matt Mervis and Keegan Thompson.
Yeah, my question would
Killian,
be
60-day DL, 2 trades.
My question would just be, and I mean this with all due respect, what are you getting in return for Keegan Thompson? Is it a couple of tickets to a Broadway show?
Well, yeah, it's a very low-level player.
If that, like, I don't even, I think.
Well, then maybe you DFA him then.
Yeah, something. Right.
Yeah, you trade Mervis, DFA Thompson.
Yeah.
And there are your 3 spots, dude. We got Cooper, Smith, and Edwards, man.
Yeah, I just want to make
I'm
sure.
really excited about this trio of players.
I want to make sure Michael Bush gets a runway.
Sure. What airline are we talking?
well, not Southwest at O'Hare unless you have your running shoes on. That Terminal 5 over there is a hike.
You want to make sure, yeah, it is. You want to make sure Bush gets a runway.
Yeah, I want Michael Bush getting 98% of the at-bats versus right-handers the first 2 months of the season.
Okay, I think
let's see what we have here. I think that this young man could hit.
Absolutely, and we'll certainly talk about him as the week moves along as well. And I'm trying to think anything else on the roster. For now, that's it, but there's so much to discuss.
I have a roster headache.
I see. Well, I'll take 2 Tylenol.
I only have Advil.
Coming up next, it's what's really become a mainstay for the third segment. That's
it's a number thing again.
Opening day.
What number is it?
Somebody should clip that.
Yeah, what I did.
Clip that noise you just made.
What I did yesterday was I started thinking about the numbers before break, so I had something. So how many days do we have?
I'm not going to tell you that. That's the little homework you have to do. How many days left? Maybe figure that out right after this. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. They're the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase because you can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And the Game Time guarantee means you always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed with Game Time. As we count down the days until opening day, we are taking a look at players in Cubs history who wore that jersey number, and there's only 8 days left until opening day on March 28th. At this time, I would like to just publicly say that my Cubs fandom, in terms of knowing it well, backdates to 1998. What would you say it is for you?
That
2000?
No, 98.
About that. Okay. Yeah. So we have the same year.
I mean, I was 4, but I studied that team so hard.
Yeah. So of course we have Ian Happ. We don't really have many number 8s here. So Ian Happ.
Oh, see, I got a couple.
And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 since 98. Sam.
Well, how about and before 98? I mean, we might as well shout out the Hawk, Andre Dawson.
Oh, Andre Dawson! Wow,
right? He wore 8, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He's a Hall of Famer.
I really need to start scrolling down more in the baseball reference.
He's a Hall of Famer.
That's on me.
And I believe the 1987 MVP on a last place Cubs team. Someone needs to fact check me on that.
I know that. Yeah,
I'm gonna leave that up to you.
Yeah.
All right. So 8s since Ian Happ through 98.
Right.
Michael Barrett's on there.
That's correct.
Chris Coughlin is on there.
Correct.
saying his name, I actually have to I have to eat after this, and saying his name makes me a little queasy. Alex Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Was Joe Girardi 8?
Yes, for 1 year.
Okay.
When he got reacquired by the Cubs in 2000, he wore 8 just that 1 year. Great job. There's only 2 more.
All right, and I don't know him. So,
Kerry Woodgame.
Oh, Sandy Martinez wore 8. I would have never.
Yes.
I wouldn't have got that. I wouldn't have got that within 100 tries.
Alliteration.
90s, late 90s. Hello?
Position player.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're nodding.
yeah.
You're nodding. Okay, my eyes are.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, Gary Gaetti.
Correct. Man, you are impressive.
That's it?
Yeah.
I don't think that was very difficult, and I had no idea.
Then during the segment, I went back to Baseball Reference, although it took my machine here all its health. I have an old computer. Bobby Bonds were number 8 for the Cubs.
Oh,
How about that?
I would have never got that.
1981. Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way.
That's helmet funny.
Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube, smash the like button for the algorithm, and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
There is momentum happening here.